Welcome to the Robert Hunt Financial Market Update. It's your host, Robert Hunt. Well, look at the week's financial news that can be a bit confusing, misleading, and take you, of course, help to make it actionable, understandable, and clear. What a week. Therefore, what a show. 3 excellent topics. Got to tell you, excellent. We're actually going to start off talking about Floyd Money Mayweather Jr. USA Today had an article by Mr. Steve Gardner about him passing a bad check for a big old watch. We're then going to talk about SpaceX. I've been getting some questions on SpaceX. This one must be in everyone's minds, but a Wall Street Journal article about flippers kicking themselves and what's happened today. And then, are you worried about a tech stock bubble? Oh, this is a refrain we've had, but Zwig, one of our favorites, says, here's where you can take cover. We're going to examine whether Mr. Zwig is talking the right things. All right, at the top, Floyd Money Mayweather. If you aren't familiar, Floyd Mayweather is one of the most prolific boxers in the history of the game. So if you know Mike Tyson, or if you know any other famous boxers throughout history, when they become number one in their weight class, they can make a lot of money. And boy, howdy, was that true of Floyd. But he finds himself in a peculiar situation. I'm going to read a little bit of this. Boxing champion Floyd Mayweather Jr. has been charged with 2 felony counts for allegedly using a bad check. He has a court hearing scheduled. He's got multiple lawsuits. He has a $7.2 million IRS tax lien. Now, that may not shock you if you don't know what his career earnings are, but what he did is the prosecutors alleged that Mayweather, who's 49, he wrote a $200,000 check to this designer, as in this resale store, Gold and Beyond, on December 31st, 2024, even though he didn't have enough money in his account to cover the purchase. So according to Nevada state law, he could face 1 to 4 years in prison. In prison. Nevada, they don't play around if you write a hot check to a Gold and Beyond store. So I just want you to listen to this. What do you think his total gross career earnings were, Floyd Mayweather? Because you see what's happening. He's got a tax lien of $7.2 million against him. He's writing hot checks. Clearly things aren't great for him. What do you think is, adjusted for inflation, what do you think his all-time career revenue number is? $1.57 billion with a B. That ranks him among the top 10 highest paid athletes in history across all sports. And he's not that old. So, I mean, think about what he made. He made, when he fought Conor McGregor in August of 2017, about $300 million, that one fight. In 2015, he fights Manny Pacquiao, earns $250 million. One fight. Canelo Alvarez makes about $80 million. In 2013, 2015, he made $32 million. 2007, he makes $25. I mean, he's a 50-0 record. So we don't exactly know what's going on. Is he just choosing not to pay the IRS? Is he choosing, I doubt it, to write these hot checks? But I want to share with you something, and just a little background. They're saying a substantial portion of his liquid assets transitioned to tangible assets. This is according to AI, says $402 million of commercial real estate, dozens of buildings in New York City and other major markets. I want to take you back to a story because I worried about him. He would be famous for carrying out $1 million in cash, tons of cars, tons of homes. So there's always that element where, gee whiz, you're going to outspend it. But when you're making $300 million in a fight, that's tough to spend on cars. I mean, you can only buy so many Toyota Corollas fully loaded before you just get tired of Corollas, which is probably the best car in America. I heard an interview with Mr. Mayweather, and he said this. He started investing in office buildings, and he was getting, I think it was a 12% cash yield. It was an 8 to 12% cash yield. And so he tried him out. Mayweather said, hey, he gave him $10 million and he got, whatever, $1 million back. 10% yield. So he's an interview, and he says, well, what if I gave him 20 million? Can he still do it? And he still got his 10% yield. What if I gave him 100 million? And now Floyd's probably bragging on the interview. He said, and what if I gave him, 500 million or 200 million, whatever it was. I remember thinking, oh dear. It's not just Floyd Mayweather. People fall prey to this. They get and maybe it'll work out. Maybe it's just a liquidity crisis. I kind of doubt it. But I knew then he was in serious trouble because he didn't understand the fundamentals of the investments. He was just looking at the yield. And can't we all go down that road? We're not so different from Floyd Money Mayweather. Maybe we can't box as well. But I tell you, if there's a little yield on it, really intelligent, hardworking people have lost gobs of money doing this. I suspect this is a big part of it. Yeah, I think the spending was a problem, but you can sell houses and cars and get cash back. I mean, maybe you're getting 50 cents on the dollar, maybe you get 80 cents. When you buy a ton of commercial real estate, office that maybe you shouldn't buy, maybe it's leveraged, you can get a zero. I never thought I'd say this, but sometimes it is better to buy the Bugatti, the third house. At least you know where you're wrong. Leverage commercial real estate. You don't know you're wrong till it's over. So it's kind of breathtaking to think that someone could gross $1.3 billion, only be 49 years old, and I'm estimating he's at a zero or negative. Otherwise, why would you not pay the IRS? They're really good at getting their money back or making your life miserable. You're now getting sued. So the lesson here is you can't out-earn foolishness with money. Can't do it. If Floyd Mayweather can make $1.3 billion and not be able to do it, what hope do you have? What hope do I have? We have no hope. It takes wisdom. It takes wisdom. And my suspicion is, you hear great stories about financial success for athletes. Magic Johnson's one I bring up. He owned his decisions. Magic Johnson, different than Floyd Mayweather. Magic Johnson, he got, I think it was Mr. Jerry Buss. He got the names of all the courtside ticket holders at Lakers games. He called all of them in the offseason and just to sit down and listen to what they think about business, how they work with business. Can you imagine that? Mr. Buss was great with it. He thought it'd be a great season ticket, promotional deal. Magic Johnson's going to call you, but Magic had a bigger vision. He sat down and learned. He knew he wasn't going to outsource this thing. And as a result, Magic Johnson has owned his business decisions and done really well. Didn't outsource it. And that's no surprise. I'm a big believer in self-directed investing with guidance, with consultation, but I like people holding on and having control, having custody of assets and control and understanding what they're doing. Move at the speed of your understanding. So let's remember that lesson. Can't out-earn it. And then we're going to talk SpaceX because everybody wants to talk about SpaceX. Who didn't want to talk about SpaceX? SpaceX stock has climbed about 50%. The flippers are kicking themselves. The rocket and satellite company's market cap surpassed Amazon the first few days of trading. So this happened. SpaceX IPO'd, humongous IPO. And its market cap, it's dropped a little bit as of this recording. But in the first 2 days, boy howdy. I'm looking at about $2.5 trillion market cap today. It just rocketed up. It just rocketed up. So it went up about 30% from June. No, maybe more than that. Wow. Almost 40%. Yeah, 35. From June 12th to June 16th. That's why the flippers are kicking. A lot of people bought and sold real quick, scalped it, as they say. They just a quick buck. And now they're kicking themselves. So let's get out of this arena, but we're going to read it. SpaceX, and they have an interview. There was a 28-year-old who's just so upset. Alan Tran, founder of the investing community Haiku Trading, thought he'd done pretty well for himself buying and selling SpaceX shares on Friday after they first began trading. He made a small 5-figure return. That's good. Now the 28-year-old is kicking himself for trying to trade the stock rather than just holding on, keeping his time rising long to the shares he bought that afternoon. He estimates he missed out on $60,000 in gains. I would have much rather have done nothing and made more, he said. I don't think anyone expected SpaceX to rally like this. Sir. No one can expect these things. And oh, by the way, I read an article today that said a lot of SpaceX investors have lost money because they bought it because there was a peak. And it just, I can't imagine this being your normative investing life. But it is for many people. I know you're a faithful listener, so you hear the sermon regularly. But I just want you to know, listener, there are folks who are living and dying by hourly and daily movements of securities, publicly traded securities. And in this instance, this article highlights, maybe you could have made more, but maybe not. Maybe you could have lost more. And I feel a great sense of relief. I don't know how you feel, listener, but I feel a great sense of relief that I'm not in this arena. Can you even imagine? Can you even imagine? Now, I'll confess, when something like SpaceX has a market cap of $2.5 trillion and it's losing money, because it is. SpaceX, it's publicly traded. We've got their financials. It loses money. I scratch my head a little bit. But ultimately, I go back. I think the market's better than I am at valuation. I really do. I think the market's better than you, listener. Yes, even you. Yes, especially you. It's even better than you at valuation. All available information is priced into these publicly traded securities. So even right now, SpaceX at $2.5 trillion, it's better than my guess. It's better than my guess, guys, and I'm relieved to know I don't have to be in the business of choosing what the value of SpaceX is. I don't have to. Innovation has allowed me to step out of that arena. The index fund, the market cap weighted index fund, of which SpaceX will be a very small part initially, and it will grow as the available shares, the float that's traded, they call it, as those available shares expand. And I believe in August, some insiders will be allowed to sell. That'll be a big slug of shares, and maybe that'll slowly increase the allotment these index fund is going to have. But it is a relief not to have to bang your head against the wall thinking about what is the price, what is the share price of SpaceX supposed to be? And oh, by the way, let's say you derive a price. You run the analysis, or you let your AI agent do it. Do you have the courage to buy and sell based on it? Most of us don't. Most of us can't. Most of us won't. You are much better off, listener, buying and holding an index fund. Much better off. And in our final article, Mr. Jason Zwig, one of our favorites. Maybe one day he'll be on the show. He may already be a listener. We mention him so much. Jason Zwig, the Intelligent Investor, Wall Street Journal, headline, worried about a tech stock bubble? Here's where you can take cover. This was sent to me by a very astute client. They know who they are. Asking the question that I think many are. Guys, are we over-indexed to tech by being American investors? Listen to this. In the S&P 500 index fund, 47% of your money sits in only two industries, technology and communication, with nearly 8% in NVIDIA alone. U.S. stocks are valued at 41 times their long-term inflation-adjusted earnings, nearing their all-time peak more than a quarter century ago. Wow. The question being, well, I want to slice and dice this first. Whenever someone tells you this, because I hear this all the time, hey, the S&P 500 index fund, 47% of your money is in technology and communications. Wow. Well, what is the technology industry? You ever thought about that? Oftentimes our categories aren't helpful. Well, yeah, I mean, Google, is that technology? Okay. What about Meta? Okay. NVIDIA? Okay. Amazon? These are all technology, but they do a lot more than that. Is Amazon technology? Well, yes, but it delivers packages. That's what it does. Microsoft has software. Alphabet, Google, they're marketing, and they do a whole host. I mean, these are really diverse companies. So the scary refrain that 40% are in these two industries, they're trying to make you think back to late 90s when they're trying to spook you. It's a little different, isn't it? Everybody's a technology company at some level. I hope they're using technology. They're not. They got problems. So I wouldn't take it so serious that, hey, this percentage in technology is so large. Don't worry yourself. The market has, in its collective wisdom, decided that it's worth that much in the American market. Now, this article says, hey, Europe doesn't have as many tech companies. It's got this one company, ASML, which is a Dutch semiconductor supplier. And in the European index, it's about 5%. But tech stocks total about 10% of the European index. 1/4 of their weight in the S&P 500. So what's in Europe? Financial stocks, the biggest, industrials, healthcare. I call them old stodgy indexes. I summarize it this way. Europe's a value index. If we're going to use that language that folks have used in the past, and if you were to say, what is America? America's a growth index. Now what? America. I'm speaking in broad terms. People might quibble with me and they'd be right. My position is, and I think you should think about this, the market is putting a price on earnings it thinks is fair. Buyers and sellers agree this is fair. That 41 times earnings, you might have read that and thought, insanity. Insanity. Why would I do that when I go to Europe and get earnings much cheaper? Well, you can do it. You can do it. Stocks in Europe are trading at 23 times their long-term. So it's about half, a little over half the U.S. level. So what are we to do with that? Is the market that wrong? No, my experience is the market's pretty good. An exercise I'd encourage you to do, if you're bored, you're probably not, but go through the list of companies in the U.S. index and go through the European index, top to bottom, not all of them, but maybe the first 30 or the first 50. And you'll kind of think to yourself, yeah, I'd be a little more excited about Amazon's growth prospects and Alphabet's growth prospects than these European companies. European companies are fine. They're fine. The market is valuing these things without, they're not doing it with their eyes closed. They're doing it with eyes wide open. And of course, there's a risk. Of course, if the AI story fails, this article uses that language. It says, the ballast you'd look for if the AI story fails to meet expectations. This is a quote from someone at Fidelity. European stocks, they might be the place to be. My solution for people is to get you out of the crazyville of trying to rotate in and out of categories and countries. Just, if you want to, own the entire international index. That's what I recommend to people, ticker VXUS. You own all of it. Don't just be Europe. Go ahead to emerging markets, Europe and Asia, and then buy the U.S. to the ticker symbol VTI, and then be done. Don't play the game of, well, Europe's looking like this, I'll rotate into it now, but what happens if it underperforms? And do I rotate back into U.S. stocks? Again, that's another place you don't want to be as a human. It's going to be tough to pull the trigger, know when to do it. So what are you supposed to do? Keep those costs low, keep that investing simple, keep that time horizon long, because that is what's going to give you the best shot on your investing journey.